Hello and welcome back. The French car maker Citroën, which is part of the Stellantis group, has unveiled a new SUV model this week. While facing stiff competition in the electric vehicle sector, the company, which has a more than 100-year-long history, saw a drop in sales in Q1 this year. Well, we're going to speak now to the Citroën CEO, Thierry Koskas, about the new model, where he sees the industry heading, and how he aims to win market share in the Middle East, in particular in Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Koskas. Really appreciate you taking the time. Just behind you, I think I can see two of the new cars, the Citron C5, I think it's called, Citron C5 Aircross, in fact. It's an electric vehicle, and it's got quite considerable autonomy, doesn't it? So what does this tell us about where Citroën views the future of car making?
Well, actually, we are presenting with the new Citroën C5 Aircross, our new flagship. It comes with MultiEnergy, but particularly, as you said, with an electric version, up to 680 kilometer range. We really think that this is part of the future. At the end of the day, the world is electrifying, and we are proposing cars that not only are affordable, but also very convenient for customers with such a high range. So we think it's part of the future of the car industry.
Okay, so it's affordable, and that seems to be a key word here. Perhaps that explains the language you've been using to describe this type of car, accessible electrification. Who would you say is the target audience or the target buyer of this car?
Well, we have actually, with the new C5 Aircross, two targets for Citroën. Number one is families. This is a very roomy vehicle. You can sit with 5 people in a very, very comfortable environment. There is a lot of room, particularly in the second row. And the second one, this is very much a B2B car, a car for companies where many executives will love to drive this car. So two targets really for us, families from one side and B2B fleet companies from the other side.
Mr. Koskas, I gather this car's got what's called multi-energy flexibility. So it's basically a hybrid that's also electric. And that's an opportunity at the moment, isn't it? Because there are some countries that aren't ready for fully electric cars. Where do you think this car is going to be most popular?
Well, we indeed offer multi-energy. Actually, you can have 3 types of engine with this vehicle: hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full electric. And you know, in Europe and in the world, the situation is very different from one country to another. We have some countries, if you take the example of the north of Europe, that are now fully electrified. So we will sell, I would say, only the electric version. But we have other countries that are a bit remote in terms of electrification, and hybrid or plug-in hybrid version will be absolutely suitable. So as we have multi-energy offer, we will be able to adapt to any type of market. By the way, not only in Europe, but also in many countries in the world.
I was going to ask you specifically about your ambitions in the Middle East, because some parts of the Middle East aren't yet ready for fully electric vehicles. There isn't the infrastructure in a lot of markets outside the Gulf. Tell us a bit about which markets you think you're going to get, that you're going to zero in on in the Middle East. What's going to be your goal here?
Well, actually, we think that there is absolutely no fatality or no barrier to go electric. Actually, it's a question of do we have the right policies in place? When we look at the barriers for electrification, there is one, the price. At Citroën, we are addressing that. Then we have the infrastructure to recharge your car. And you can see that in some countries, some governments put a lot of effort to put a great infrastructure. So I think that we could see in the future in Middle East a lot of countries that would go electric. I think this technology is perfectly suitable for many countries. It's just a question of, do I have the right infrastructure? And this is very much something that we are welcoming at Citroën.
Mr. Koskas, Saudi Arabia is aiming for 30% electric vehicles by the year 2030. Is Saudi a market you'd like to see Citroën grow in?
Well, we would love to because Saudi Arabia, first of all, it's a great market. It's one of the biggest markets in Middle East. And the fact that there would be a political willingness to electrify the market is really, really something that we would be welcoming. I think that at Citroën, we are, first of all, present already in Saudi Arabia, and we have the perfect range of electric cars. We have small and affordable electric cars with EC3, for example, and we have bigger cars with a longer range, like the new C5 Aircross that is behind me. So we can answer to that. We are welcoming this willingness to go electric, and Citroën will be there to offer electric cars for Saudi customers.
And just staying with Saudi Arabia, I mean, it's getting a little bit more competitive there now because Tesla opened a showroom in Saudi Arabia in the last couple of weeks. The Chinese EV maker BYD got in there sometime last year. And of course, you've got this population of more than 30 million people. So all in all, this ought to represent one of the most exciting markets in the region. What are your thoughts?
Well, absolutely. And you know, I think I first visited Saudi Arabia something like 20 years ago. So I know how the market is promising. And that's why it attracts so many brands, I would say, including, as you say, the Chinese brand. But I think that with Citroën, we have the right weapons to offer a great offer of cars in the Saudi market. We have very, very competitive products. You know, in Europe and in many countries in the world, including in Middle East, we are fighting against Chinese manufacturers, against others with great cars, including electric cars. So I think we are absolutely perfectly ready for the Saudi market, which is, again, a great market where we can sell both high-end cars, but also popular, smaller cars. So it's absolutely a great opportunity for Citroën, and we are extremely, extremely motivated to be present in the Saudi market.
I just want to ask you about the US tariffs. Are they having any impact on Citroën, and are they having an impact on your sales?
Well, actually, zero impact for the time being, because as you know, Citroën doesn't sell in the US. We are selling everywhere in the world, Latin America, Middle East, obviously, India, and so on, not in the US. So we are not directly concerned by the tariffs. Obviously, as part of Stellantis, Stellantis is, because we have within Stellantis American brands, but at Citroën particularly and specifically, we are not concerned by the tariff topic at the moment.
Okay, but what about supply chain issues? Anything you've noticed?
No, actually, you know that we were facing supply chain issues back 2 years ago with a specific shortage on some components or whatever. That has now been solved. I would say we have now today a normal supply chain, and we are able to supply any car that the customer would need. And that's obviously very good. The demand is very high. We have now a very, very recent range. C3 was launched a year ago, C3 Aircross 6 months ago. So there is a lot of demand, and we are able to fulfill the demand, which is obviously great news for our customers.
Again, where do you see the future heading with regards to electric vehicles? Where do you think the industry is going to be in 10 years from now?
Well, actually, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you that electrification will go up. Now, will we be at 100% in 10 years? I don't think so, but I would suspect that in many countries, particularly in Europe, we should be above 50%. I really, really think it's the future, as long as you offer affordable product to the customers, and as long as you have the right infrastructure to recharge your car. If the two conditions are met, we can really envisage a growth of the electric market above 50% within 10 years.
Is there any slowdown in demand for electric vehicles, as some are suggesting, as perhaps people go back to hybrids? I mean, is that something you're seeing?
Well, actually, a lot of people are talking about slowing down. I can tell you that at Citroën, we are not seeing any slowdown. The share of electric cars, pure electric cars in our sales is growing every day. We are now above 20% in Europe, so it's really, really growing. And for a very simple reason, it's very easy to explain to a customer that electric is great as long as it's affordable. The running cost is super cheap because you are going to run your car on electricity. It's much cheaper than petrol in most countries in the world. So it's easy to convince customers. So I really don't see any slowdown, at least for us. We see, on the contrary, a growth of electrification, and that's obviously very positive for us.
Okay, that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Thierry Koskas, the CEO of Citroën. Appreciate your time.
Many thanks.
And thanks to you for watching The Real Deal. Do stay tuned.